Excuse me. Mitroman Bandhuvam, welcome to South Asia Maps, your intellectual Kshatriya channel. At South Asia Maps, your presenter, Dr. J. Reddy, will bring you the abstract concepts of South Asia, history, geography, culture, and heritage in the iconographic form, so that these concepts are very easily etched in your mind. I have put decades of work and hundreds and thousands of hours in making these presentations, so that I would like to share my knowledge and you can learn the things very fast and appreciate it. Even though our focus is South Asia, south of Karakoram Mountains, north of Kanyakumari, and west side of Kamarupa in the Ahoms territory, east of Kalat in Baluchistan. Due to my varied, diverse interests and research, I will also be posting in similar presentations ideas on world geography, heritage, particularly human ecology. This is human ecology, human predicament, how humans live on the planet Earth, interact with each other, with other biotic community and abiotic community. What is the human impasse we are facing in the post-exuberant era after 2000 AD? That is the bottleneck century. The essentially ideas are taken from Dr. William Catton Jr.'s pioneering works mentioned in his two books, Overshoot, other book, Bottleneck. This is part 41. So, the today's topic of discussion is about the developed world, developing world. Developing world, this is the economic development. A flight you can see. This flight, they are developing world, they are trying to take a flight to ascend into the developed status. Mother Nature saying, you are not cleared, the runway is not cleared, do not take off. That is the developing world. What of the developed world? They are already afloat and running the journey. The Mother Earth, the limited resources told them, telling them, descend, stop moving, the resources are not there. That is the fascinating topic 41. Developing world not cleared for takeoff. Developed world asked or directed to descend. This is a developed world. This developed world I represented in red color, the planet Earth, United States, Canada and so on, the Western Europe here, and Australia, New Zealand symbolically. This is the developing world, the rest of the world, that is Central America, South America, that's Latin America, Africa, and Asia, and so on, symbolically. Developed nations are projected as a trailers. Generally, if you see the political discourses by intellectuals or media, the developed nations are projected as a trailers, a role models, a previews, like the United States, Canada, Australia, so on to you are presented that all the nations in the world to achieve their economic statuses, their developmental indices, and so on, we are told. Developed nations are projected as a trailers, previews, role models for the developing nations, or sometimes called underdeveloped nations, to achieve economic development, economic prosperity. But ecological perspective is very different. What we generally see is the political perspective. Today, I will give you a different ecological perspective. After this, you will get totally different perspective. You can start thinking about it. Excuse me. This is the round about 1500. This is the old world. Eurasia, Europe, Africa, Asia. Here have 10 million square kilometers, 30 million, 44 million. The voyages, discoveries by Amerigo Vespucci, Columbus and so on, discovered the new world. North America, 24 million square kilometers, 17, Australia. Entire planet Earth is round about 550 or so million square kilometers. The land mass is 150 units, million square kilometers. The rest round about 350 or so is water. You can fit 150 Egypts in the land mass in the planet Earth. That is 150 countries of the size of Egypt. Egypt is 1 million square kilometer, easy to remember. This is 24 million, 17 million here, 30 million here, 10 million. India is around about 3.2 million. South Asia is around about 4 million. America, Canada, and China almost the same size, 10 million square kilometers. Age of exuberance. After discovery of the new land, European colonizers took over the land, called taking over, from their competitors, local flora and fauna, plants and animals, and eliminated redundant local native Indians, what they thought redundant, and colonized of, that is taking over. After taking over happens 1500. Then the steam engine was invented round about 1800s. Then steam engine, the coal discovery happened, and iron discoveries, coal discoveries, 1800. After that, immense amount of coal, oil were discovered, and they start digging, the drawing down and down, enhance the carrying capacity and prosperity. Steam engine discoveries of iron, coal and oil enabled drawing down. Drawing down has enhanced the carrying capacity, temporarily called phantom carrying capacity. That means a ghost carrying capacity, not permanent. At that time, that means European technologies, steam engine based technologies, harnessed millions of years of deposits. Remember, on the planet Earth, this is the only Earth, this is the only habitat, limited in size. Equator circumference is 40,000 square kilometers. Singapore to Singapore, that means 150 million square kilometers landmass. Very limited. On this millions of evolution or geological history made coal, iron, aluminum and all those deposits. One-time deposits. European technology harnessed these millions of years of fossils and minerals. All this happened from 1800 to 2050. The story will end. That means, let's say from 1500, or you can say 1600, 4 or 5 centuries, the way you think. There is an immense amount of prosperity, economic affluence from 1500 to 2005 centuries. Conditions of exuberance prevail. After 2000, no longer that exuberance prevails. We entered post-exuberant era with 8 billion population and depleted resources. That means the 18th century, 19th century. 18th century ends in 1800, 19th century ends in 1900, 20th century ends at 2008. We are in 21st century. This 18th, 19th century, what happened? There were underdeveloped countries everywhere in the planet. At that time, underdeveloped countries of 18th, 19th century were United States, European countries, Germany, France, Britain, England, Scotland, Ireland, Benelux countries, Belgium, Netherlands, and so on. They were underdeveloped countries at that time. Immense amount of coal and iron and those resources were there. They made use with their steam engine based technologies and developed. Now 20th century, there are no more resources. All these developing, underdeveloped countries doesn't have that resource base, and moreover now this population is humongous. Round about 1900 there was less, around about 1818 when this story started, 1 billion population. Now there are 8 billion. Everybody want a car, a washing machine, a dryer, air cooler, air conditioner. It's not possible. These are all resources churned into products for humans. So if anybody thinks these developing countries today, underdeveloped countries, can develop, means they're looking in a wrong case. At that time, 18th, 19th century, underdeveloped countries of Europe and America have immense amount of resources we lack now. Now, underdeveloped countries of Asia, Africa, Latin America lack that. That means there is a nature's limiting factor, that is lack of resources. Most important are fossils, the coal, natural gas and oil. Others are minerals and metals, so on. The only modest exception is mainland China. From 1980 to 2020, we can say, around about 40 years or so, it consumed whatever coal that is left on the planet Earth, imported everywhere and industrialized themselves modestly. That's the exception. Now, other countries cannot do it. The reason is not the technology. We have a lot of technology, trained manpower. But there is a Liebig's law of minimum I discussed elsewhere, the limiting factor in the Liebig's barrel. If you make a barrel with the stakes, wooden stakes or staves, the shortest stake will determine how much water it holds. That is now the natural resource limitations. That's what very important we have to keep in mind. That is to say, in the real world, when the industrialization started 1800, lot of countries, underdeveloped countries of Western Europe, sat on the immense of resources. They were the first to take advantage and developed. High development index, states, Canada, Australia, New Zealand and Western Europe, so on. Now, in the 21st century, all the countries want to take off the economic development. There are no resources. We are on the resource depleted planet Earth we are living. That's why Dr. Catton gives very, very important conclusion. That means the developing world, you see the developing world, resource depletion is delaying this developing world to industrialize aspirations. The flight cannot take off. Already the same resource depletion in the developed world commanded the pilot to descend, abandon the further these industrial niches and contract, and slowly these industrial niches will disappear. Traditional agriculture, so much niches will happen. That is about, and this is my main YouTube channel and South Asia Maps. Reddy, there are 30 playlists and you can go. I will put this particular in the playlist called the playlist called Human Ecology. There are 33 or so already. There are more than 250 or 60 meticulously made videos. You can look at them, and please do post your comments and compliments and criticisms, what you would like to see. And you can also see, once a while I will be posting on Twitter side India Maps 2, that's number 2, our handle. And I also discussed extensively, I think this is the 40th topic, that is not cleared for takeoff and direct started to descend. The first five, next five, postings, next five, and so on. Carrying capacity, taking over, drawing down, new world, old world, so on. Ecological ecologies, fossil ecology, fuel ecology, trade ecology, and so on. Then I talked about human predicament and age of exuberance. Then we talked about the American dream, Australian dream, Canadian dream, and the ecological boom and crash, eruption and decrease, that is die-off, overshoot, diachronic competition, stealing older generation, stealing the resources from the current generation, oil and coal, all they eaten and depleted. Today we don't have much, and hunters and gatherers, traditional hunters, gatherers, industrial hunters and gatherers, how humans can adapt to the post-exuberant era after 2000 AD, realism and cargoism and cosmetism, cynicism, ostracism. And I discussed about the Liebig's laws plus carrying capacity, Liebig's law, carrying capacity, adjustment, contraction, expansion, sword of Damocles, and the sword of resource depletion, and all those things in the previous presentations. You can look at them. This is your presenter, Dr. J. Reddy at South Asia Maps. I really appreciate joining me today, and we'll appreciate if you take some time and put the comments and possibly subscriptions of our channel. See you later at other presentation. Dr. J. Reddy from your intellectual Chatriya's education channel, South Asia Maps.